Greetings to all my English-speaking subscribers and everyone who has just joined my channel. You are welcome, guys. It's time to talk with Yevgen, and today I would like to talk with you about such issue as injustice. We all from time to time come across injustice in our lives, and of course we have our own understanding of injustice and justice. We want fairness in our relationships with people, and this is all good. I can say that this is the innate striving of a human soul, to strive for justice. We all seek justice from the early childhood. Think about kids for a minute. My wife and I are raising 3 of them. It doesn't that much depend on their age, but they will tell you for sure what is not just when it is not just, according to their own opinion or their own understanding. Now I want to switch back on the Old Testament and talk with you a little bit about Moses, and especially his young adult time. I assume that you know this story very well, but if you don't, you can find it in the book of Exodus chapter 2. One day, when Moses grew up, he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. Looking around to make sure no one could see him, Moses kills the Egyptian, burying his body in the sand. But Pharaoh learned what had happened and tried to kill Moses. So Moses fled to the desert of Midian, where he lived for 40 years. During that time, the king of Egypt died, and Israelites groaned in the slavery and cried out to God for deliverance. What else had happened during those 40 years of Moses? He got married, learned a great deal of life experience, got children. His life was in the desert. The Midianites had taught him how to live well enough in the sparse land and so on. And finally, he experienced God's call when he was ready. Remember Moses and the burning bush, for example. Now I want us to think about Moses at his 2 periods of his life. First, his life in Egypt. He had real desire to establish justice in how people were treated by one another. I would say that his intentions were great, even excellent. He stood up against injustice, but his means of establishing justice were very weak and limited. And as we see, and as we can understand, our own means to establish justice sometimes, to have right, can be very insufficient to do that a certain way. Our fists will not just work at times. It looks like our desire is good, our heart is on the right track, but the means are not the good ones. We rely and trust on what we have. Moses trusted his strength, his young age. He trusted himself rather than think thoroughly about the consequences of his action. He becomes nomad. He needs time to learn and grow, to mature. Maybe with time he loosens some of his physical health, but he gains God's provision. With time he realizes his limitations, confessing that he is not ready for God's calling, but he relies heavily on God's resources as his tithing for justice. The plague, miracles, and other wonders serve as a proof for trusting God's justice. I guess this is what we can learn today for our lives from Moses' life. Facing the injustices in this world, we first rely on God's resources and time, and not on our strength or understanding. We must seek God's guidance for solving the problems with open heart and prayer. If you like this message, please don't forget to subscribe and write me in the comments below what other questions you might come across with in your daily walk, and what you think about the issue of justice specifically. It was good to spend time today with you, and I will see you in my next video.